Hi, welcome to Candy's Cupcakes. Today I'm going to show you how to create a sugar flower. So for this I'm using the Renshaw flour and modelling paste. You can actually get flour and modelling paste from most supermarkets now, but it's not the Renshaw one. I do prefer that one though. So here I've created a darker pink, a pale pink and the white, just so that it creates a nice darker centre of the flower going out to pale. So for now I'm going to remove those two and put them in a plastic bag so they don't dry out. Taking the pink, the darker pink, if you want to split it in half, now it depends how big you want your rose, obviously with how big you do this stage. So for the centre you want to create a cone shape like that. So I've just used my two fingers in the palm of my hand, and then if you want to just press it down onto a clean work surface so that it's nice and flat, ready to use. Then with this one you want to make 3 petals out of it. So if you split it into 3 pieces and taking each piece, roll it into a ball, and then using your fingertips you want to just thin it out all the way around into a little disc. It doesn't have to look perfect at the ends because obviously roses are all the petals are all different shapes and sizes, but you want to make it nice and thin, especially at one end. Okay, and then if you want to make each petal kind of roll back, so this takes a little bit of practice, but if you kind of roll it back gently with your fingers so that you get a nice point like that. Okay, and then if you want to just pop that on the side of your foaming mat, you can kind of use any like breathable material for your mat, but you can get these from most places and they're just indentated so that you can put each petal on and they keep their shape rather than it being a flat surface. They're useful for all sorts of like little blossoms and other decorations that you're making. So you're just doing the same again with this one. So again, just create a nice little disc and roll it back from one corner and then roll it back like that. Okay, put that again to one side. Putting it to one side so it does just go a little bit hard so it's ready to stick on and it doesn't lose that curl that you've created. With regular fondant it does far too quickly, so I wouldn't suggest using ordinary fondant sugar paste for making flowers. It's just not strong enough. It doesn't go hard enough and the petals quite easily break, which isn't good once you've attached it to your cake. So there you go. So there you got your 3 for the centre. So take the next colour, so this is the pale pink. If you just give it a little knead, make sure that it's ready to work with and it's nice and soft. Now for this next one we want to create 5 petals. So what I tend to do is obviously for this, so you've got the 1 which is your centre, and then you've got your 3, and then the next one will be 5, and the next one will be 7, and so on. So for this we'll need 5. Okay. So these petals need to be slightly bigger again, but not massively bigger. If there is any excess you can cut it off the bottom of the flower at the very end. This is getting quite sticky now. So we're just doing exactly the same thing with this. So we're curling back each corner and then we're allowing it to dry slightly. Don't want it to go rock hard, otherwise it'll just crack when you try and attach it to the flower. So depending on how experienced you are, you might want to, do this step by step and wait for the petals to dry, and then do each one. But if you're a little bit faster, then carry on like this. Okay, so there's another one. Okay, now before these go too hard, because they're already getting a little bit that way, what we now need to do is take some edible glue. So this is just Tylo powder, tiny pinch of, with some water, and then left for around 10-15 minutes. So then if you take each of the petals that you made before, turn them over, and then paint a little bit of the glue around the bottom of each petal. So the bottom, I mean obviously the uncurled bit on the other side. And then this is the tricky bit that you'll have to kind of practice, I suppose, if you're not used to doing them. So then you want to attach each one. So by attach, I mean hold one corner of the petal to the centre, and take the next one and you want to tuck it underneath that one and bend it round at the same time, and then your final one underneath that one, and then that should end going over the first one. And then if you just want to squidge it in at the bottom to make sure that they're all nicely glued together, and as you can see that's forming quite a nice centre for your rose. So you can pop that to one side. And now while these are still drying, we can take the final one, which is your white. So like I said, so we've done 3, then it'll be 5, and then it'll be 7. So I want to create 7 bigger petals again. So I'll just thin it out into a nice disc, and we're doing 7 of these. Okay, so now if you take the pale ones that we just did before, they've gone nice and hard, not too hard. Turn them over, and again repeat the process using your edible glue of just painting at the bottom of each one. Now as they get bigger, it gets more tricky to kind of handle, really, holding the flower and attaching them. So again, just take your time and don't give up practicing. So with this one now, so as you can see where it overlaps here, that's where you want to start your next petal, really, so that it looks a bit more natural. So again, if you pin it down on one side, so you can then tuck the next one underneath. Now they have to be quite close together, so it's like a nice full rose. So again, it comes with a little bit of experience, really, knowing how close to put them, but as you can see, and then keep pressing them down, lift up that one, pop that one underneath, holding it down all the while if you can, and then your final one for this row. And then again, just make sure that it's all secure, nice and secured underneath. And then, because they're not rock hard, you can still, you know, tease them into place in terms of adding a bit more curl where it needs it, or, you know, manoeuvring them about a little bit. It's starting to look like more of a rose. Now I need to wait for these ones to dry a little bit more normally, but for this obviously we'll make a start now. So if I take the ones that I did at first and then go with a softer one last. And again, add your glue. Right, now, so obviously you can go bigger and bigger, but it does get more difficult. So again, if you start off so that it kind of begins overlapping there, so you've got like a nice, you know, you don't want it back to back with each petal, you want it in the middle. So again, hold one corner and just keep overlapping them. And as you can see, we've done a nice ombre effect with the dark pink to white. So it looks quite pretty on a wedding cake especially. Now you can leave these overnight to dry, and then the next day you can use them, or whilst they're still a little bit soft, you can add the supports to the bottom of them. It's like a cocktail stick or your wire or whatever you're using to secure it to the cake. So again, you can still tease each petal a little bit. Now for this, I tend to put it in my hand like that, so that it doesn't fall straight through, but that the petals will still, you know, they'll be in the right position that I want them to be in. You can either put them in a cup overnight to dry, or I tend to like using these. So what I tend to do then is, what you'll find is underneath it can look a bit ugly. I'll try and turn it over and show you. You can see the centre there. So what you can do is you can cut that off with a pair of clean scissors. And then if you're adding it to a cake, say the side of a cake, you might want to cut the bottom off at an angle so that it's at a certain position and then it sits on the cake better, because otherwise if you've got a big chunky thing at the bottom, it's just going to stick out far too much. So there you go, that's the sugar rose made out of the flour modelling paste.